Okay, so like I had said, I was 16 and your dad was 22, and we had no interest in each other at that time. And life goes on, and I went back to Queens to finish high school, and I went to college, and I had my own apartment in the city, and I worked throughout my 20s. And then when I was 29, I was sitting in my office in the city, and I was bored, so I figured I'd give the Aunt Teresa, who was Grandma and Grandpa's friend, a call. And Aunt Josie picked up the phone.
Which would
and
be
Aunt
my
Josie
dad's
is
sister.
Pop's is your dad's younger sister, and we got to talking because I hadn't seen or heard from her in about good 15 years. And
Just wanted
we
to
just
catch up with her?
yes. She said, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, I explained I was living in the city. Oh, we have a restaurant in Freeport. My mom and dad would love to see you. Why don't you come? So about a week later, I dragged my best friend Delise, and we went to the restaurant. And it was nice to see everybody. And I saw your pop, and he said, he looked at me and he said that was it. We were getting married. I didn't know it at the time, but that's the way that happened.
That's a very interesting story.
It is. I mean, it's a little more elaborate, but that's the gist of it.
All right.
So I was 29 when I met your dad again, and he was 36.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe your courtship for me?
It was very quick. We met that, it was November. And
Of what year?
Of 1990. And your father, asked me, we talked on the phone a few times before we went out on a first date. And I remember the very first date we went on was to see The Godfather 3, which was actually one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. That we laughed through it because it was so bad. But that was our first date. That was in, I believe, December of 90. It proceeded. We got engaged. We
How long
started
after you
dating
met?
in December, and we got engaged in March
Then of the next year?
of 91, and married in October
Of 91?
of 91. And yeah, we knew that, we were both grown-ups. Like I said, your father was 36. I was almost 30. And I had done the 10 years in the city, the career, the whole, thing. So we both knew we were ready to get married.
All right, Laura.
And the only reason we got married so fast is because I knew him and his family from years before. Otherwise, I never would have gotten married so quickly. I loved his family, and he knew our family, and your dad's a real nice guy.
All right. It's a very elaborate explanation.
It is.
Thank you,
It is.
Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why did you decide to get married?
Why did we decide to get... Well, because, like I said, we were both grown-ups, and there's really no point in, I'm from a different generation. You don't live together, and, we were old enough to know that we wanted to get married, and we wanted a family. We both knew I always wanted kids. Your dad always wanted kids. And so there was no point in doing the 2, 3, 4-year courtship. We were grown-ups already. So.
Okay. Could you describe your engagement for me? How did that happen?
Oh, had the engagement. It was Easter in
If you
1990.
could you make it brief?
Real quick. Okay, it was Easter. Your father had all of my family, grandma, grandpa, and
In
everybody.
91?
And
Or 90?
In 91. And all of his family, about 40, 50 people at Norna's house. For
It's
Easter.
my dad's mother.
For Easter, just as a pretense, I guess, just to have Easter, the two families. And your father asked me to marry him and gave me the ring on Easter Sunday.
How did he give you the ring?
He just handed me the box, and I opened it.
I don't remember
It wasn't
that.
very romantic, trust me. Your dad wasn't a
I
romantic
heard it was a
back
different
then.
story.
It was a different story.
Please
but I'm not
elaborate
gonna
for
go
Mr.
in.
Basil.
Oh my God.
How did he give you the ring, Mom?
Okay, you really want to know?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what this interview's for.
Okay. There was about 40, 50 people at Norna's house, and your dad was pretending he was running late getting dressed, and he asked me to go into his night table and get him a pair of socks. And I opened up the sock drawer, and there was a ring box. So I closed it because I knew what it was. And, just to make your father a little edgy. He's, in his very heavy Italian accent.
He was born in Italy, by the way.
He asked me to open it again, and I opened it, and I took it out, and I opened the box, and he didn't even say, "Will you marry me?" It was just, that was it. We knew.
That was very romantic
of
him.
That was in March, and we got married in October of the same year.
Wow, that's quick.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you when you got married?
I was 30. And your dad was 36.
Would you say that's too old or too young?
No, that's the perfect age. I'm hoping that all 4 of my children, I hope not one of you gets married before 30. You need your 20s to grow and to learn and to travel and to find yourself.
We'll see about that. What were you looking for in a spouse?
I was looking for someone who was intelligent. That was the most important thing. Your father is a very, very smart man. He's also from a very good family, which I am also. We're also both, I would say people of faith. I grew up Catholic school my entire life. Your father, has always gone to church, even though he didn't go to Catholic school because he grew up in Italy. Yeah.
Okay. How does the reality of marriage compare to your expectations of what marriage would be?
Well, I'm sure Mr. Basil's married. I know any marriage is not easy. It's not easy. You have your ups, your downs. We were grown-ups who had never lived with a member of the opposite sex. That was hard. Your dad was, 36 and spoiled.
What do you mean?
Your grandmother spoiled him rotten.
He's a mama's boy?
Oh, he still is, your dad. He's 59 years old, and you know that. But he married an American girl.
All right. So, do you think your marriage is exactly what you thought it would be? Is it?
Oh, it's better than.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Were there
absolutely.
hardships that you've had to get through?
Not hardships like monetarily or things like that. No, the hardships with illnesses in the family. We lost your grandma. We lost your Nono. Both very long, protracted illnesses. That kind of thing is hard. But other than that, it's all been everything I'd hoped for. And that's the honest truth.
Have you ever considered divorce?
Never.
So you would say you're happily married?
Very.
Good.
Very.
Glad to hear.
You never get divorced.
All right,
Joseph.
Mom. How do you think children affect marriage?
Well, there's really no other reason to get married unless you want to have children. And children make the marriage wonderful.
But what if you can monetarily support a child? Do you think you should still have one?
That's a tough question. I know.
Do you think it's right to create life even if you can't really support it in the best way that you can?
Well, it takes a lot more than money to raise a child, Joseph. I think if you have love and you have faith and you have the willingness to work hard and then yeah, of course it's a blessing. Absolutely.
But you didn't really answer it. How does it affect your marriage?
Children are expensive.
So you're saying it puts a toll on your marriage?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't put a toll on your marriage. It's just you want the best for your kids. You want better than how you grew up. And I didn't grow up with a lot. I grew up in Queens, and we really had nothing, but we had faith, and your grandpa and your grandma, and a happy home, and that's 95% of the package. No, you 4 kids don't make me cry. Are
wonderful.
Everything to us. You know that. So
Okay. All right. How important would you say money is in your marriage?
Well, money's important in the fact that you need to live. You need to be able to pay your bills and to groceries and money. Like I said, we sent you and your sister and your brother through Catholic school, and your older brother and sister are at Catholic colleges, and it is important. No question. That's why your dad works 6 days a week, 14 hours a day.
All right. So you covered money and religion. What would you say about cultural background? Was that important to your marriage at all?
Yeah. Cultural, not cultural as in background, as in like I'm Irish, you're Italian. It was very important to me and your father that we each married a Catholic, a Roman Catholic.
Really?
Oh yeah, because we both knew that we wanted our children to be Catholic. But as far as like your dad's 100% Italian, I've got Irish and Italian, and your grandma's relatives were Jewish, so I'm a mutt, really. But we're Catholic, which is important.
Okay. And your educational background?
I went to college. I got my bachelor's in business. Your dad had some college, but because he was forced to work at a young age, he didn't get to finish college, but he started it. That's his regret in life. But
Would you say that him not going to college has somehow
affected us?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
You're saying
Absolutely not. Your
we're,
dad
we're
is
doing
one.
okay without him going to college?
Absolutely. Your dad is one of the smartest people I know. So that's, like I said, he's a hard worker. If he had gone to college, he would have liked to have been a doctor or an engineer. He just,
Lawyer?
the way he grew, no, not a lawyer, a doctor or an engineer. But he grew up in a time where college wasn't possible.
All right. And what's the age difference between you and your husband?
Almost 7 years.
Would you say that's a big deal?
No, it isn't. Sometime now it is, because I'm 52 and your dad's going to be 60. I worry about him a little because he's going to be 60, but he's a very young 60.
Okay.
So,
now that we covered basically what's important to your marriage, could you possibly give some advice to teenagers who are dating and thinking about getting married?
teenagers, no. You don't get married when you're a teenager.
Teenagers.
Teenagers, no.
What would you
I
say-
would say to a teenager, first of all, I don't like the idea of... I wasn't a dater when I was a teenager. I was busy with school and sports. I played basketball, I played volleyball, I worked. I didn't have time for any of that. Neither did your dad. And I think under 20 is really young to get serious.
What would you say is the perfect age?
Perfect age to get married? 30.
Okay.
Late 20s, 30. You need, I wouldn't change a thing.
All right. What advice would you give to a young married couple that is experiencing marital difficulties and thinking about divorce?
Thinking about divorce. Well, it depends on the couple. It really does. Marriage is hard, and you have to look them both in the eye and look at the person, look at each other, and say, do you want to spend the rest of your life
It's not only that, but
with each
would
other?
you say marriage is definitely like a two-job thing? It requires requires the efforts of both people in it.
Of course it does. You don't have marriage.
It doesn't work with just one person putting in all the effort?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what you're saying is that if
Marriage
it's not
is-
working...
No, marriage is 50-50.
And so would you recommend getting a divorce if it's that drastic?
I wouldn't recommend anybody getting a divorce. That is an extremely personal decision. That's up to the couple, and I would hope not. But unfortunately, divorce is very easy today, and a lot of people just go into marriage with the idea that they can get out of it quick, and it shouldn't be like that.
What you're saying is that all right, no, forget that. I'm sorry. Looking back, if you could do anything differently, would you?
What, marriage-wise or life-wise?
Anything. Would you have more kids?
Oh, no.
Would you
Looking back, no. I would
get a higher degree?
I would have liked to have you know, in the perfect world, I would have liked to have taken college more seriously. I would have liked to have become a doctor. I mean, I was